Captain Chemtrail, September 1st, 2011 at 7:45 p.m. Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Again, look at the volume of metal in our sky. This is the HARP screen. It extends probably right across the continent now. It just lurks off in the horizon there. Then at night it gets pulled across our sky, which is right now covered in more chemtrails, so they can, you know, do their thing again there. You know, fill it up in that. See? The symptoms that come along with this volume of metal are pretty grim. There's more of it right there, just sitting there. There's more lurking above the tree line there in the distance, and it's being obfuscated by moisture, like evaporated moisture or condensation, probably because they're using chemicals to drop the temperature rapidly, which causes more moisture in the air, which they then mix with the metal particles, aerosolized metals, to make plasma gas, electromagnetic aerosol banks, which are like this. And the symptoms that go along with this are horrendous. I almost died last night just breathing it in for 8 hours. I went and painted a friend of mine's house out, and deliberately out in the aerosols to show what it does. And by the time I got home 8 hours later, I couldn't breathe, and I was beet red. My digestive system was completely stopped, like shut right down. There was pain in my abdomen. Eye, ears, nose, and throat were itchy, leaking, sore, kind of swollen, plugged up, gummed up. The airway right in the center of your chest and leading out through the bronchial tubes completely packed and flapped over with stuff you couldn't even cough out if you tried. Choking on that, trying to breathe in. It just goes on and on and on. So we didn't even go anywhere today. We just stayed inside the house because we know better to go out. The only thing that stopped that event from becoming critical for us was I had nanosilver at home, and when I got home I took a pretty big hit off it, gargled it, breathed it in through my nose, and sucked it into my lungs like mist by making some ridiculous noise with my throat as I inhaled and aerosolizing it, because I didn't have an aspirator and I wanted to get it into me at any cost. Everywhere from my lungs upward was as hot as could be. But when I measured my temperature, it was actually a degree below normal, so I don't know what's going on there. My doctor might. Yeah, it was pretty creepy for the kids. So we want people to know that I think that shows there's microbiology in it, because if there wasn't, why would that stop it from happening? Number one. Why would it, like after that, my symptoms just simply started to abate? Number two, it's possible they're using electromagnetic energy and targeting activists, dissidents, whistleblowers, and investigative journalists with directed energy, lowering your resistance to these pathogens which are present in this aerosol in a small enough degree that it doesn't hurt everybody. There's a corresponding shortage of antibiotics on the island again this year, as there was last year, and it's what happens when you breathe in this much metal and other crap. Now, there's a possibility that because of the volume of metal lowering our immunities is we're just succumbing to other pathogens, which we would have been able to defend ourselves, like we would have fended off if we had an immunity, and that they're lowering our immunity with directed energy and these metals and stuff. So someone that knows more about this could decode it. So I'm encouraging people to write down their health symptoms and document them and how they correspond with the aerial spraying program in your region, and coordinate that with other people. Make sure you've got good ones in there, not moles, you know, double agents and such. And what you want to do is record your aerial spraying program or aerosol spraying program, because they do it through the land and the sea as well. You've got to document that, and then also the corresponding symptoms, and then use that as evidence on the day when we, if we're fortunate enough to be in a position where we can do something about it. And that's not looking so good right now, with everybody keeping their tails between their legs and their heads down. Like, that strategy is going to get us all killed. So it's time for selfless and brave people to stand up for their women and children, as I've been saying for well over a year now. And I think you don't do it soon, it's curtains. So as 9/11 approaches, the 10th anniversary of 9/11, it's a prime date for activism, potentially. But of course, through that HARP screen, that aerosolized metal blanket they pull over us at night, like this one right here, what will happen is they transmit psychotronic frequencies through that to dumb us all down. As Zbigniew Brzezinski said in his book Between Two Ages, published in 1970, by the time we're finished with them, they'll barely be smart enough to repeat last night's download of news. You might want to play that back. You can look that up online. You can get his book online and read it. I wouldn't pay him any money for it. And, you know, once you do that, you'll start to get the point. Now, that's one thing this weapon does. It's a psychotronic weapon system. It's also a tectonic and weather weapon. The weather weapons part is killing our world's food supply and a lot of other things. And then, of course, the tectonic thing causes earthquakes and tsunamis. So there's no shortage of examples of all this stuff going on around the world, and it's high time we do something about it. I'll post this immediately. That's a wrap on the September 1st at 8 minutes to 8.